welcome to United Network News, the official news channel for CARE, the Center for Amity and Restoration of Earth. I'm Sunny Galt. At UNN, you get the real news. Through our field messengers, we show you the truth about what's really taking place in our communities. We also bring you stories to help you remember who you are and why you're here, as well as regional stories that impact the people. And our World Situation Report reveals what's happening throughout the multiverse. We are here to restore Earth. In the U.S., it is Wednesday, July 24th, 2024. Chapati is a popular snack in eastern Uganda. Today you'll meet these brothers who make a living preparing this dish for the locals. Also in Uganda, waterways are not only beautiful, but they're an effective form of transportation. We'll show you how they're used throughout the land. Humanity is becoming more aware of the dangers of many medical treatments. Today we'll learn more about our soul connection and how trusting it can improve our health. Dangerous mudslides in Ethiopia have now claimed the lives of more than 200 people. The search for survivors is still underway. And we're just days away from the opening ceremony of the Summer Olympics in Paris. And ticket holders are having a hard time reselling their seats.
This is Calen Gibb, messenger for United Network News. Here's a look at today's field messenger reports from all around the world. Chapati is a staple snack or meal supplement for many locals in eastern Uganda. This versatile flatbread is often paired with a variety of dishes, from stews to vegetables. UNN Field Messenger Dianne details the process of making this beloved dish.
Hi, this is Field Messenger Dianne from Ginger City in eastern Uganda. Today I'd like to show you one of my favorite street foods that I find locally made and it is enjoyed by many. The chapati, made of flour and a dash of salt. It is cooked on a charcoal fire and you can find these vendors throughout the streets of Ginger. Today on my walk home, I find two brothers down an alleyway. They tell me that they have been working this lane for over 3 years. Normally starting around 3:30 in the afternoon, they come out to catch those looking for a snack or wanting something extra for their evening meal after a long day's work. We see one brother preparing the dough by rolling it flat and the other working the cooker. The chapati is cooked on hot cast iron skillet heated by charcoal. The dough is put on the skillet and is spun until cooked through and showing lightly brown spots on both sides. Very similar to a flatbread. Here I have included a picture of my favorite breakfast dish. We have a chapati, plantain, potatoes, beef with a light sauce. So yummy. This has been Dianne from eastern Uganda. Thank you for watching.
In eastern Uganda, waterways are used as an effective mode of transport. UNN Field Messenger Mwandha Michael shows us how people and cattle use the system.
Hello, this is Mwandha Michael, UNN Field Messenger reporting from eastern Uganda at Rukono Chiefdom. During the moments of organizing a big function, we tried to visit different villages where I came across the landing site at Kikaru village. And this site connects from Rukono Chiefdom to Padisa district. What I got exciting is that most of the free land that they can use for their cattle feeding is across this river on the highland. So every day they force their cows to cross over these waters to go on the other side to get food. They are sending these cows to go and eat across, and they just walk. They just walk on those. They walk cross over to go to the other end. People crossing by canoe from Parisa to this land. As you can see, those ones have just arrived. And I don't know how long it can take. Now it's jumping out. I've just arrived from Parisa. Thank you, Mwandha Michael, UNN, to the messenger reporting.
We want you to become a UNN field messenger. These are everyday people just like you who want to make a difference in their community. You don't need any special training or equipment. Just use the camera on your mobile phone and show us what's happening in your area. You send us your videos and our production team will create the report for you. Our website is now up and running at unitednetwork.earth. You can submit your Field Messenger reports directly through the Field Messenger tab at the top of the page. You can also email your reports to our email address at fieldmessenger@unitednetwork.earth.
Hey, I'm Kirsten from Switzerland.
This is Wayne from Tucson.
Hi, my name is Desmond from Ghana.
I am Claudia from Dawsonville, Georgia.
I'm Mikey from Pretoria, South Africa.
Hi, I'm Steve McGrath, Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada.
People from all around the world are coming together.
Happy day, beautiful world. We are here in a rather small urban garden, and this video is just to show you the joys that we've had in this garden with the electric gardening.
When news happens in their area, they show us what's really going on.
We have people in the streets protesting for and against.
At United Network News, our field messengers are changing the face of news.
This is Field Messenger Helen reporting with nature, and I'm going to talk to you about the bees again.
Take the next step in restoring our planet. Become a UNN field messenger today.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from South Africa. If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to me. It's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to all of us. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news.
Our connection to our divine spirit and our creator is under attack. Medical treatments claiming to help us are really a front with the intent to sever that connection. Dr. Mwandha Michael is a board-certified internal medicine physician with a PhD in pathology and 20 years of clinical experience. She says our soul is a treasure, here to guide us on our journey. So Dr. Mwandha is back with us. She's joining us now. And Dr. Mwandha, we talk a lot about our mind, our body, our soul, how important all of this is. And it can even protect us in times like this against some things out there that may be trying to harm us. So let's talk about that a little bit more.
Absolutely. I believe that our spiritual connection, however you view that, and the soul, who is our conscience, is extremely important in this time. Why is that? Because the warning signals that go off when someone out there is telling you lies, for example, take this jab, it's going to be good for you. That comes from our spirit that tells us, no, don't do it. When everyone around you is pushing you, is saying, come on, when the pressure is up, that is such a profound spiritual decision to say no to the system. And I believe that the true strength to withstand what's going on, this war that we're in, is a spiritual war. It is endeavoring to enslave, our soul and the spirit that Yuval Harari was saying. He's a spokesperson for the WEF, and he was saying that this will be a thing of the past. They literally want to destroy our connection to our own innate knowing. And the technologies that they're using that we've discussed before, these transhumanist technologies, the brain chip that can read or write into our mind. Well, when something else is writing into your mind thoughts, then you are no longer in connection with your God-given divine spirit and soul. So we need to protect ourselves. We need to use our spiritual power to listen so that we don't participate in what is harmful to our body. The smart cities, the 5G, all of that. It's time to get back to nature and, drink our own well water, grow our own food, and as well as connect heart to heart and soulfully with the beautiful human beings that are around us, to hold on to what it is to be a divinely inspired spiritual human being.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, I said, you have a built-in lie detector within your body, and it's called discernment. And if you use it, you will be able to tell when someone is lying, when something is bad for you. It's like anything, like a muscle or something. The more you use it, the more you're going to feel comfortable. And it's exactly what you're talking about. It's your soul speaking to you, saying that's not a good thing. Like, we have to start listening to our bodies, and that little hunch that you get, it's there for a reason. Like, don't ignore it. And usually it's a good thing. Whatever it's telling you, it's a good thing.
Absolutely. I do think that, this message that comes from our spirit is very, very important, because you see how many people didn't follow it. And to go against everyone around you, even if you're completely alone, you're the only one, you might be the only survivor in these times because you listen to that voice. So we are seeing excess mortality around the world, and people are being depopulated. Absolutely. Mass casualties are happening. And I'm telling you that when you cannot trust your government, you cannot trust your doctor, you're the media, you cannot trust the people around you because they're all brainwashed. The one thing that you can trust is your own soul, your own knowingness to lead you through this mess so that you can see that new world that we're all dreaming about. We have to get there, and we have to fight for that. And it is our soul and spirit that will lead the way.
In Amsterdam, a digital detox cafe encourages quiet reflection or spontaneous conversations with strangers rather than social media interactions. With amenities like board games, a piano, and a library, visitors recharge their souls instead of their devices. Here, the members of the offline club exchange screens for face-to-face human interaction or just enjoy a peaceful retreat from the digital world. The club has expanded rapidly thanks to helping people cope better with stress and assembling like-minded companions who welcome conversation instead of texting. Now, in multiple cities in the Netherlands, its popularity first spread via Instagram, gaining 125,000 followers in 1 month. Originating from offline getaway retreats, the club champions mental well-being, free from the pressures of constant online exposure. The offline club idea is being adapted to reduce tech dependency in other countries. Its members hope to establish healthier habits around device use and an antidote to the excessive intrusion of big tech in our everyday lives. Citizens worldwide are taking back their streets from car congestion through innovative programs. One successful approach is congestion pricing. London, for instance, charges a fee of $15 for cars entering the city. Higher rates apply during peak times and in densely populated areas. This program has cut traffic by 33% in just 3 years. Inspired by London's success, cities like Singapore and Stockholm have implemented similar measures, resulting in quieter streets and reduced air pollution. In Bogota, Colombia, Sundays are car-free, a tradition that has been in place for decades. No motorized vehicles are allowed downtown, creating a pedestrian-friendly environment. Stuttgart, Germany, has designated over 10 city blocks as a pedestrian zone, banning all vehicles. This area has become the bustling heart of the city with shops, restaurants, and thriving businesses. These initiatives demonstrate that reclaiming streets from car traffic is possible and brings about an overall healthier lifestyle. In the UK, a groundbreaking project is transforming abandoned coal mines into cutting-edge vertical farms, promising a new era in sustainable agriculture. Scientists from the University of London have converted a former air raid tunnel into a thriving farm, delivering fresh veggies straight to the local supermarkets. This innovative method ensures a steady food supply while also creating jobs in otherwise economically struggling areas. Research indicates these underground farms can grow 10 times more food than traditional farms while using far less land, reducing deforestation. They maintain perfect temperatures year-round and are immune to changing weather conditions. They also require no pesticides and use 95% less water. The project's success has sparked plans to convert more mines across the UK into farms. With more than 150,000 abandoned shafts in the UK, unused coal mines could see new life as ultra-efficient indoor farms, paving the way for a more sustainable future. We are United Network News. Every day, we release real stories from real people all over the world.
Field Messenger reporting from Gold Coast, Australia,
Denmark,
Canada, Uganda,
from Atlanta, in Southern California.
In their own words, people like you share what's really happening in their area. At UNN, you are the news. You are creating a new world with infinite possibilities. You are the restoration plan. Come join us for the real news every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, only on United Network. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news. Rescue teams in southern Ethiopia have recovered the bodies of 229 individuals following two devastating landslides triggered by heavy rains. The incidents occurred during the weekend in a remote mountainous region, prompting an urgent search for survivors, which is still underway. Authorities indicate the death toll could rise as search and rescue efforts continue. Eyewitness footage captured scenes of hundreds digging through the debris in hopes of finding trapped individuals. Those rescued are currently receiving medical treatment. The second landslide hit as responders and community members were already involved in the efforts from the first, leading to further casualties. The area has faced significant rainfall and flooding in recent months, with instances of landslides and floods reported as far back as 2016. In Uganda, security forces detained numerous young individuals during an unauthorized protest rally in the capital. The rally was organized to oppose government corruption and human rights abuses. Witnesses reported at least 45 individuals being taken into custody. Businesses near the parliament faced significant disruptions as military patrols and roadblocks restricted access and created a tense atmosphere. Meanwhile, police had sealed off the offices of the largest opposition party, claiming it was mobilizing for the protest despite the party's denials. Protesters' concerns center around widespread allegations of corruption within the government, with many feeling frustrated by the lack of accountability for senior officials. The government's preventative measures to halt the rally and the impact on local communities have raised questions about citizens' rights to free expression and assembly. In Somaliland, women involved in the frankincense trade are facing inadequate payment and a lack of accountability from doTERRA, the company they supply. Despite promises of fair wages, many former workers claim they haven't received back pay after an investigation revealed payment issues. A doTERRA representative told the women compensating them for lost wages would be difficult due to insufficient records. Many of these women have come together to form a collective that has successfully created a sustainable business model. This allows them to earn an average of $7.50 to $10 daily, with the potential for even higher earnings on successful days. The collective has gained global recognition and is actively pursuing fair wild certification to ensure ethical practices. The women take pride in owning their work and the positive changes they've made despite the ongoing challenges they face. Seven journalists have been killed in Pakistan in just the first 6 months of 2024, marking a record number for a single year. Recent incidents highlight the dangers faced by those addressing critical issues, such as local governance and corruption. Many of these attacks are believed to be linked to their work, particularly in smaller towns where the influence of citizen journalism has grown. The cycle of violence is aggravated by a culture of impunity, as most perpetrators remain unpunished. Advocacy organizations emphasize the need for enhanced protections for media professionals who have a constitutional right to free expression, yet continue to operate under constant threat. Reports indicate a significant decline in press freedom, with international observers ranking the country amongst the most hazardous environments for journalists. China will gradually raise its statutory retirement age for the next 5 years to address its aging population and struggling pension system. Currently, the retirement age is 60 for men and 55 for women in white-collar roles, while working-class women retire at 50. This initiative is part of resolutions adopted during a recent high-level meeting with a potential final retirement age of 65. Experts warn the main state pension fund could be depleted by 2035, aggravated by post-pandemic economic challenges and declining birth rates. The government's focus on voluntary participation and flexibility in the retirement process has led to skepticism among citizens on social media. Concerns have been raised about job availability and the effects on those looking for early retirement from demanding jobs. In Bangladesh, rising water salinity and extreme heat are increasingly threatening the health of coastal communities. Recent studies reveal exposure to salty water significantly contributes to kidney disease, with many residents relying on contaminated sources for drinking, cooking, and bathing. As temperatures soar, breaking records this April, heat-related health consequences are compounded by inadequate access to safe water. Residents, particularly women, are facing dire health implications, including chronic kidney disease, as hospitals struggle to manage the influx of patients. The situation is pressing, with escalating costs for necessary treatments like dialysis, leading to financial strain on families. Despite government initiatives aimed at improving water quality, experts warn insufficient research and intervention strategies could result in a surge of kidney-related diseases in the near future. Ecuador's Navy is taking measures to protect the Galapagos Islands from illegal fishing by foreign vessels, which pose a threat to the region's marine wildlife. Following training exercises with U.S., Peruvian, and Colombian navies, Ecuadorian forces are now better equipped to intercept illegal fishing activities. The training was initiated in 2018 after the capture of a Chinese fishing ship carrying 300 tons of fish from the protected waters. Ecuador's government has reported these vessels often turn off their radars to evade detection. In response, China claims its fishing operations adhere to international regulations, claiming its squid fishing methods do not result in the bycatch of protected species. The U.S. Internal Revenue Service has clarified new rules regarding inherited retirement accounts, impacting how beneficiaries manage their funds. For accounts inherited after January 1st, 2020, individuals must now liquidate their inherited 401ks and IRAs within a decade. Eligible designated beneficiaries such as spouses and minor children are exempt from these rules. Now, previously, heirs could take minimal distributions during their lifetime, but the new regulations require annual withdrawals. Financial experts emphasize withdrawals are taxable income, suggesting beneficiaries distribute them throughout the decade rather than waiting until the final year. Heirs need to consult financial advisors to navigate effectively. A recent study reveals strict office return policies in the U.S. are contributing to a significant loss of women from the workforce. Many women are now seeking flexibility, with more than half considering freelancing as an alternative. Nearly 2/3 of companies report struggling to fill vacant roles, attributing losses to decreased productivity linked to the departure of female employees. Despite progress in women's workforce participation in other major economies, the U.S. has seen minimal growth during the past 30 years, which could hinder potential GDP growth. The research indicates high office attendance does not correlate with improved performance. Rather, flexible work arrangements promote trust and satisfaction amongst employees. Many workers now prefer hybrid options, valuing life outside work. The U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has begun a preliminary evaluation of approximately 150,000 Stellantis vehicles due to multiple consumer complaints. This includes 2022 Ram 1500 pickup trucks and 2022 Jeep Wagoner SUVs. Drivers have reported issues with the engine unexpectedly shutting off, particularly while driving at slow speeds. This malfunction causes the vehicle to shift into parking mode and activate the emergency brake, potentially creating dangerous situations on the road. Also, a battery fault symbol appears on the dashboard, alarming drivers about the engine's performance. With 80 complaints already filed, the administration aims to investigate the extent and causes of this issue to determine how it impacts vehicle safety and reliability for consumers. Denmark is struggling with the rising tension between locals and camper van tourists as complaints grow about overcrowding and littering at popular sites. With 2.3 million overnight camper van stays in 2022 and a 27% increase in the camper vans for the past 5 years, local communities are pushing for sustainable tourism that benefits both visitors and residents. As part of new regulations, certain parking areas will be restricted and designated spots will be established to alleviate the parking issues that have plagued natural sites. Meanwhile, the country's capital is rolling out incentives for responsible tourism, rewarding visitors who bike, use public transport, or engage in community service with perks such as free coffee. Authorities hope these changes will lead to a positive coexistence and a more enjoyable experience for everyone involved. A new study reveals nearly 40% of British strawberry and raspberry growers face the risk of closure by 2026. This is largely attributed to rising production costs and low payments from supermarkets. Nearly half of these farmers report operating at a loss, with 53% describing their financial situation as poor or very poor. Many are contemplating reducing production or exiting the berry farming industry altogether. Despite a 30% rise in production costs, growers saw only a marginal price increase from retailers. As a result, strawberry production has declined by 5% this year. Farmers face additional challenges, including decreased export opportunities due to post-Brexit regulations. The resale market for unwanted Paris Olympics tickets has surged to more than 271,000, showing a lack of demand just days before the opening ceremony. Many fans obligated to purchase blocks of tickets for multiple events are struggling to find buyers for their unwanted seats on the official resale platform. Complaints on forums like Reddit reflect concerns about being stuck with good tickets they cannot sell, leaving them feeling frustrated and financially burdened. Organizers insist their ticket sales strategy has been a success, boasting nearly 8.85 million tickets sold or allocated. Nevertheless, more than 250,000 tickets remain unsold, along with hundreds of thousands more currently available. Despite anticipated high attendance, hotels and apartment owners are adjusting their expectations, with many lowering prices due to diminished demand. As unemployment rates gradually rise, many Australians are feeling pressure in a competitive job market. Many individuals who recently lost their jobs are struggling to secure new positions, often facing lengthy or fruitless job searches. Despite investing in professional resume services, some find themselves receiving no responses from recruiters or securing roles with significantly lower pay, sometimes equivalent to salaries from decades ago. Recruiters indicate students, migrants, and returning expatriates are flooding an already saturated job market, leading to stiff competition where hundreds apply for a single position. Companies are prioritizing internal promotions and skill development as part of their retention strategies, further limiting opportunities for job seekers. Economists predict the unemployment rate could rise above 5% in the coming year due to an influx of job seekers without corresponding available roles. A growing number of women in Australia are seeking breast implant removals, with the procedure known as explant surgery seeing a significant rise. Data from Australian Breast Device Registry shows an increase from 0.4 procedures in 2016 to 7 in 2022. Many women report experiencing severe symptoms following their implants, which some attribute to a condition termed breast implant illness. While the condition is not officially recognized, researchers note further investigation is necessary. A recent study shows 85% of women who underwent explant surgery reported improved health 6 months post-procedure. Experts recommend annual checkups for women with breast implants to monitor their health effectively. We have an exciting new announcement. We have launched a new global TV service specifically for the UNN community. Thousands of live TV channels, 60,000 movies on demand, over 30 languages, and live sports from around the globe. Between all the separate streaming services and cable for live TV and sports packages, it could cost well over $200 a month. But now with United TV, you can have it all for only $15.99 a month. Go to unitedtv.org and check it out. Get so much more for so much less.
And now, the World Situation Report with Kimberly Gogan from the Office of The Guardian. Russia and Ukraine have agreed behind the scenes to end the war. All that is left is the media campaign. And big changes are going on at the United Nations as the Order of the Dragon and the Rothschilds continue to lose power. And the internet tells you that Lionsgate starts on the 28th of July, but that is simply not true. All this and more on today's World Situation Report.
Now, here is the World Situation Report with Kimberly Gogan from the Office of The Guardian.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everyone, depending on where you're listening. Today has been an interesting day all around. Lots of news to report, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. In the regular news, well, sort of regular news, let's just say before it's mainstream news, Russia and Ukraine have been in talks in conjunction with the Chinese government and some with the U.S. government to end the war in Ukraine, or war with Russia and Ukraine, I should say. This was prompted by a complete and total lack of funds. It has now come to Russia and Ukraine's attention that the Chinese were backing both sides financially for quite a while. That's China's deep state. Whether that be directly from China or that be indirectly through the United States. So if you remember back a couple years ago when the war first started, and you're new here, China pretty much has been in about 80% control, if not more, of the United States government. And they have been for quite a while. But in this particular case, they were the ones that were the force behind prompting all of that crazy funding and free weapons and all of the U.S. support for Ukraine, including but not limited to the alleged bust that was going to go up in the Capitol building of Zelensky. And the dog and pony show that Zelensky did for Congress not that long ago, and the visits to the U.S. And China was the one that was prompting all of this, supporting all of it, and making the deals behind the scenes as to how much money was going to go where and why. A lot of this control had to do with the Federal Reserve and their alleged former stake in the Federal Reserve. In their ability to provide funds through Marduk and other ways of providing funds. Then, of course, they allegedly said that they were the ones that provided the funds in 2012 and a few years after to the U.S. And also they were told, everybody was told that the Trump funds actually came from the Meiwa in China, which was not true. I am not Chinese, and my name is not Meiwa, nor will it ever be. And Meiwa is just a title anyway. So that is good news for Russians and Ukrainians and all the countries that have been bleeding out the ears, spending money on supporting this crazy show over there on behalf of China's deep state. So hopefully we'll start to see this trickle into mainstream media. I'm being told no later than mid-August is when we should hear about it some more. They may be waiting for a celestial event, and I know that's a shocker for you guys, to see if something comes their way. But by that point, it'll obviously be too late. And with today's shenanigans, which we'll go into in a few minutes, it should be extremely obvious to these people that no one's coming to help them. But you never know. They could be waiting for a full moon in August. We don't know at this point. Okay, next bit of regular news that is interesting. There is a lot of buzz going on around the United Nations right now and within the walls of United Nations power sector, that the United Nations Security Council has agreed to disband the council due to their lack of power and the fact that hardly anyone in the world is listening anymore. This is no surprise because what they did was build a system based on fear and greed, and right now the United Nations and NATO cannot provide either. They spent a lot of money in the Middle East and in the Gaza Strip, a lot of money in Ukraine, and if you remember a few months back, we were discussing about NATO's big operations all the way from Armenia through to Albania, Turkey, movement of a lot of weaponry into Jordan, Yemen. They've spent a lot of money that they did not have recently trying to get this World War III scenario underway. There's also been a lot of talk about nuclear threats and China and Taiwan. That is very expensive. So right now, everything seems to be at a standstill. NATO is wondering why there's no money coming, especially today, because today was supposed to be another one of those days ending in Y where everybody was expecting to get money, including the Global Headquarters Group, with the Order of the Black Sun, the Trump operatives, and everybody else was expecting to get money today. Now, they are all increasingly aware behind the scenes that there's a new currency, and they don't really understand it. They don't really understand why we did it. And quite frankly, at this point, from what I've been hearing all around, I don't really care that they don't understand it. There is a lot of calls that we have been getting from various countries who would like to own their own currency. That call came in from, let's just say, one of the countries who wants to end the war, and it's not Ukraine. You know, I got to be honest with you. And when it comes to Russia, I personally have been there. I've spent quite a bit of time there, off and on throughout the years. And here's my impression. Right now, I know what's going on behind the scenes because I looked into it. There is a big fight right now going on between what we call the oligarch clans in Russia. The oligarch clans are either loyalists of the Order of the Dragon. In this case, you would call those that are with the Order of the Red Dragon, which originates out of Russia. Then you have other clans that would be loyalists to the Order of the Black Sun. The Order of the Black Sun would be people like fake Putin and a lot of the old KGB agents and so on and so forth on that side. The ones that want to revive the USSR would be the Black Sun. They would love to have no God, of course. Their God is death. And then on the flip side, the Red Dragon folks would like to have another czar back because it's easier for them to control. You know, they used to be, back in the day, they saw themselves as the kingmakers of Earth. In reality, they were never the kingmakers. They were just the town crier for the kingmakers, if you will. They were the ones that passed down the orders and information from on high, non-humans on this planet, which would then give the information down as to who was going to be the king of what country. And Russia is no exception here. So the fighting between the two groups and the shakeups that have been happening recently, not only there, but also within the United Nations and also here in the U.S., are all interconnected based on the fact that the Order of the Dragon promises money on a particular day, and then the Order of the Black Sunites, you know, your Trump operatives, Etal, are promising money on another day. And every time one fails to perform, the other one steps up and makes their promises, and they fail, and then the other one steps up on the other side, makes their promises, and they fail. But the one thing I see happening quite a bit of right now, not only in Russia, the US, the United Nations, and China, what it appears is happening around the world is that the operatives are getting tired of being promised a bunch of this and a bunch of that and having zero delivery. And that includes United Nations operatives as well. You would be looking at Monarch Military here. You would be looking at the whatever's left of, I don't think we have very many umbrella military corporation anymore. They might have appointed some more. That's your Trump operatives. Russia is no exception here. They're also part of the SSP. Ukraine is also part of the SSP. And of course, everybody on paper and in mainstream media is part of the United Nations. So there is a good chance over the next several months that we will see no more United Nations at this point. There's no support for it anymore. Countries aren't listening to them anymore. I don't know if people are going to still show up for the meeting come September. Who knows? But at this point in time, that looks like a card that is definitely getting ready to fall. Now, to be fair, in these meetings that were taking place at the United Nations behind the scenes, they definitely were questioning let's just say, the validity of their leaders and their ability to perform. That's number one. Number two, they are the Security Council, and security, even though they might be with a military in a different country or whatever representative each of the respective Security Council country members sent, remember, they still are more loyal to the Order of the Black Sun. So if the Order of the Black Sun says, in whatever's left of that, says that they want to dissolve the United Nations because they think it would make them look like the good guys, that could very well take place. Now, as for the United States military at the Pentagon, they are also struggling to find a way to maintain power, and have said so to some people in my inner circle, which there aren't many, so they probably know who that is. Both sides would like to talk, of course they never want to talk to me, but they would like me to just hand them out money, so that they could probably go back to their respective gods. Let's just call them the Order of the Dragon on the one side, the global headquarters or global military on the other side, and say, look, we did it, we got it from her, do we get a position now? Because that's what they're offering at this point. Oh, you guys are just, stupid, you can't do your job. If you can't go get anything from her and weasel your way into some money, then, you're out, or you're worthless, to us. And no, you can't have a promotion, in the non-existent order. It's like getting a promotion at Enron at this point. Also, other people talking are NATO. NATO is very confused by new currencies. NATO is talking about all their operations around the world and how they can't afford to do it anymore. NATO has also had the Order of the Black Sun, because if you don't know, NATO is actually the Rothschild and Order of the Dragon's private army. Always has been. But NATO, even though it's not on their website anymore, at least I don't think so, was actually founded by Bush Sr., which was head of the Order of the Black Sun, or a Black Dragon, at least on the human sector. And so they have had global headquarters and what's left of the Black Sun whispering in their ear, telling them that when Trump gets back into office, that there'll be huge amounts of money that are going to come in. And NATO actually placed a call to Tom Melville and asked Tom if I was still going to support Trump like we did during his last administration. Well, I can clear this up for you. Absolutely, NATO, if you're listening to this, because we know you are. The answer is absolutely not. We do not support dead people in public positions and, anymore, ever. We're not interested in Duck Dynasty running this country second time around, especially since this time around they have no alien leadership. And that's very clear. It's very clear they do not know how to run an operation without a brain behind them. And I can see them falling by the wayside. Many of them died today in today's events around the world. And so, many more will also continue to die if they continue to try to call upon their alien gods to come and save them. If that dead guy gets into office, you can expect a financial system that will run autonomously apart from the U.S. government. It will be in support of the new currency of gold, which is of the United States, of China, of Russia, of United Kingdom, insert country name here, South African Rand. Everybody has currency of gold now, and we are going to move on without you, and it will just be for the people, and you can go continue to play your political games for free and expect to get people to give you money. Now, they might say, well, if she supports, for example, another country that has decided to move away from the order, like the Banana Republic, as an example, doesn't matter, insert country name here, then we'll just go do contracts with those people, because this is what they're talking about behind the scenes. And I know you very well, Duck Dynasty people. And they're talking about going behind our back, behind the scenes, and trying to take money from those countries. But I can tell you right now, we're going to split it up into millions and millions of people, and those people will have your pictures and your names on every telephone pole in every single country, everywhere, to not talk to you. If I have to do that, I will do that. And I have your entire roster. I know what everybody looks like, and I tell you, if you were going to run another season of Duck Dynasty, you guys would win. Because that's what you look like, most all of you. And on our side of it, we will make sure that no one in the world touches you. Now, you have a perfectly good opportunity to do two things, Trump operatives. Number one, you do the right thing. You basically say the truth to the American people. You can spin it any way you want, but that man died of natural causes like you know he did. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you will have no business trying to run financial anything. If you want to go balance your own checkbook or whatever it is, then you go do that. But stay the heck out of United States government pockets, because you have no idea how to run a financial system. That is evident and clear. I watched you at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I've watched you in Texas today. I've watched you in Spain, Portugal, and every other, Project Odin, Project Poseidon, Project Hercules, insert other Greek, Apollo, insert other Greek god here. I watched you try to use Abraxas systems, and you think that they're yours, and that actually is connected only to a financial system. And you couldn't be more wrong. And money never came from the Abraxas in the first place. And I watched you make a total donkey of yourselves in the last several days. Okay? So please, if you want to go do politics, you want to go do something else, then you must do it my way. Period. End of story. Or I will ensure that no one in this world will touch you. Not any one of those 15 militaries. No one will touch you. Everybody will have all your files and all the things that you did. So stay the heck out of my way and stop trying to raise alien gods. Okay? And please tell people when people die that they're dead. This is not 1913 and this isn't Woodrow Wilson. Get your crap together, people, because the world is moving on without you. So you can promise NATO everything you want, but you will not perform. You will not perform when Trump gets back into office. You will not perform ever. So you're going to spend 4 years in absolute misery going back on every word you ever gave to any terrorist organization. Yes, I watch you. How is Yemen these days, guys? How is Hezbollah these days? And oh, by the way, you've got a whole little sector of Ukrainians that aren't Ukrainian at all, are they? And what about your dealings with Blackwater or Frontier or whatever he's calling himself these days? We know about that too. So I hope you guys know that is just a little tidbit of the information that I have on you people. Get up, fly straight, or get off this planet. And we're more than happy to oblige, just like we did today with some of you that were in various locations around the world, didn't we? So let's talk about various locations around the world, because this is only part of our day today in the last 24 hours. We always have a lot of news, and there's a lot more that happens behind the scenes, but there's only so much time in the day and only so much time to do news. So let's talk about Lionsgate. Everybody talks about Lionsgate on 8/8. You have some websites that will tell you it starts on the 28th of July and continues through August 12th, which is why I said that the war in Ukraine might not be publicly announced over until after about mid-August. But it actually starts today. Who knew? Now, why is it called Lionsgate? Now, in the past, we have always thought that the gatekeepers of Source, which is kind of true in some ways, were lions and have been throughout our history. You have heard Bible stories about lions, and a lot of that is very true. However, the lion, on behalf of Anti-Source, who has held control over Lion's Gates is not the lion we think it is. It is actually Astaroth. So if you do some research on Astaroth, the lower astral being, one of the chief demons of hell, you will see that his symbol is often represented as a lion. Now, Astaroth's sidekick and oftentimes assistant in these types of gateway events is Anubis. It's spelled Anubis. I might be pronouncing that wrong, tomato, but Anubis is his sidekick in this, and there's quite a bit to be said as far as both of their participation in Lionsgate. So you remember before, Lionsgate used to belong to the dark side. It would be a time when Anti-Source, for lack of a better term, and all his favorite demons would come upon Earth and torture us basically for several days, probably until the following full moon after Lion's Gate. This also gave some power to the deep state. The deep state apparently is aware somewhat that today would be that day. And they immediately went to the following locations with some black magic items and tried to raise Anti-Source once again. Now, do they know that the items they took with them were specifically to call upon Astaroth and Anubis? I don't know. Did they know that this is the place you have to go to get some Anti-Source energy going on in this world? Possibly. Did the machine tell them that before the machine stopped communicating to their brain? Possibly. But nonetheless, they went to all these lovely locations and began to weave black magic with, I'm going to say, no end result. We'll leave it at that. But that doesn't mean it didn't cause some turbulence in some different areas of the world. And most of the places where the turbulence would have been in the general area because their black magic tools aren't as strong as they used to be. Now, items that they take to such an event. There must be 10 people. 9 around them, they hold these crystals that contain an energy that is both black and red, is the color of this particular energy, and it represents the Antichrist or condemnation in this particular case. The second item that they bring with them is something called the Rod of God. And the Rod of God for them is not about God and it's not about source, it's about anti-source. So the rod itself is a hyperconductor for the energy for which it is made to conduct. So it did cause stuff that was already here, so any dark energy that's left on this planet, to kind of collect in these respective areas, which I will list for you in a second, and caused some uncomfortableness, let's just say, in these regions. Did they think they were actually raising anti-source? I don't know. And it really doesn't matter what they think anymore because they're not thinking anything at this moment in time because they have all left this planet. So if there's another crew that would like to go there with this special rod made of a compilation of metamaterials, which are man-made metals, in this case it was alien-made metals for them, then feel free to join the rest of them, because at this point my frustration level with you people is at an all-time high. So we have no problem making sure you vacate this planet rapidly, and all the better for humanity, and you're going around in circles anyway, and you're taking every government and every country with you. So why not just get rid of you and then have them call and nobody answers the phone? You'll probably put somebody else in that position to answer the phone because you still think that some alien race is going to pick you up on the 19th or whatever lie you're promising everybody today. Unfortunately for you, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a War Today or a Hamburger Today or whatever movie it is you're going off of that you based your Duck Dynasty operations on. So the following locations and their surrounding areas probably would have had a difficult time energy-wise today. So let's start here. The border of Iran and Iraq, they still think that gateway belongs to them. And you are wrong. If any other members of the Green Dragon would like to participate in this adventure and you have another rod for yourself and some Antichrist crystals, feel free to join everybody else at the Iran-Iraq border. Yellowstone Park in Wyoming, not too far from Old Faithful. There was definitely some disturbances there, and they're the ones that caused it. The Ozarks in Arkansas, that was where the seal was, and they felt that they would have the greatest chance of recondemning planet Earth to hell, I guess. Winslow, Arizona, also another place we've been. I guess I was the girl in the flatbed Ford there today. Saratoga, New York, if you know the song. In Tennant Mountain. Next, White Top Mountain in the Appalachians of Virginia. Wisconsin and the Apostle Islands National Park. Here's one that is pretty much an obvious. Bush Mountain in Texas. Why not, right? In Indiana, the Angel Mountain Historical Park. In North Dakota, Devil's Lake State Park. And we are back at the Hope Cave and Socotra Island in Yemen today as well. Petra, Jordan. Petra is a historical site in Jordan. And then we have another historical area of Syria called Palmyra. Say that twice. Back at the ziggurat of Ur in Iraq. The Basilica Cistern in Turkey. If you haven't seen that and you don't know what that is, that's a great place to take a look at on YouTube or wherever. It's actually quite beautiful. There's a lot of waterways underneath the basilica, so worth a look at. It wasn't going to be beautiful if they had their way, but that's okay. The Gurji Mosque in Libya. The Golden Gate, it's called, in Kiev, Ukraine. The Faisal Mosque in Pakistan. That's a really pretty mosque, by the way. Oh boy, here we go. In Burma, I'm gonna spell this one for you. Shwessandaw, the Shwesanda Pagoda. And last but certainly not least, the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation Pyramid in Kazakhstan. So these were all the places where our friends went today. And they have now been cleared up. Now, all of these sites were tied to other space junk that was in the sun, the moon, Sirius as well, star, and Saturn. So this would be apparently in the past an event that would happen every year around this time. Also, if you remember last year this time on the 24th of July is when they used to all go to their dark mirror places, and the mirrors are no longer there, and apparently they know it, to get their orders and instructions for the year. And that would be specifically for Coven members only. That would not be for the people that are trying to get the orders now in any way, shape, or form. And the Coven members would then go, because it's the end of the full moon, 3 days after the full moon, which would be the end of the last meeting between the parents and non-humans. Parents, you could say that they were loosely humans. And then they would be getting their instructions at this time. The following meeting would actually start somewhere around the new moon, the upcoming new moon next month. And then the orders would come out on the full moon for the next crew down in the food chain. And then the final orders going out to operatives around the world on the harvest moon in September. So we do this every year with these people. We now have a new crew. There's a lot of people that are dead and no longer with us in the higher groups, but these people are none the wiser. So they're going to go to all these various locations and around, anti-source is going to come up and greet them for being loyal subjects and give them plenty of money and plenty of orders. Wrong again, deep state. It's like I wish I could help their head. I wish that there was a diagram I could draw on the whiteboard maybe, or use small words to fix them, but I think it's impossible at this point. On the other front, lots of good things are happening on this earth, on our side of it. The Golden Age system seems to be doing exactly what it was meant to do in clearing out from human computer networks anything that is left of Omega or any other dark ties. This is sending the deep state into a panic, because even if they see a remnant of something pop up over to the left, nothing is actually showing up in human computer networks, and it's frustrating for them. They can see it kind of starting in the ethers and what they have left over there that they monitor this stuff with, but it never actually comes to fruition. And I know how you feel, deep state, because every single time I would transfer money that would start in the ethers and work its way down into the matter, the physical plane of existence, you too would make my stuff disappear. So I can feel your frustration, but now the shoe's on the other foot. Next, another important thing that happened today, which was very interesting. As part of all of the cleanup, not only of these people off the planet in their respective rods of anti-source, we also have had the beginnings of Earth itself being back in control of its own soul. So just as we were separated as human beings from the soul plane of existence by Artemis and others, we also are able to reconnect source. Just like us as humans, we're able to start to reconnect to that soul plane directly again. Earth also is having that ability. So this is really exciting as far as the restoration of Earth, and her making that reconnection, with a few little hiccups on the way, based on the events of today and that kind of thing. But it's officially coming together again. So this is really good news for Earth. It's going to help us as humans and her inhabitants. And hopefully we'll be able to move forward with more restoration of Earth very soon altogether. There's a few other things about the restoration of Earth, and I know a lot of you are already doing this. The more light energy you bring in here, the more source direct current that you focus on, for not only for yourself, but those that you love around you, and the more that you focus on that for Earth as well, the faster that we'll be able to move forward. Things are going really well as far as them not having the space junk and the ability to utilize that space junk anymore to harm us and to harm Earth. But, we could always use more help from you to assist us in making sure that there's no large amounts of dark energy they can collect in respective locations again. So the more we do that, the more positive things that we focus on, the better for Earth and the better for all those around you and generations to come. So once again, I thank you in advance for all your help with that. And with that, we are going to conclude today's World Situation Report. I probably have a few more things to say, but I'll probably get to that more later on this week, so on Friday. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for watching the World Situation Report. Have a great night.
Want to share news from UNN? Help us change the face of social media and use it for good. Connect with us through our online channels. Our social media team creates clips from each newscast you can easily share with people you care about. That's also where you'll find our UNN Meme of the Day, a great way to encourage critical thinking. Links to all our social media sites are available at the bottom of our website at unitednetwork.earth. Let's change the face of news together.
And that wraps up today's news update. Please share UNN with your friends and family. We need everyone to come together and help restore our planet. When news happens in your area, record and share it with us so together we can share it with the world. Remember, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I'm Sunny Galt. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the real news.